Happy Friday! Thanks for joining me today for the latest weekly Market Insight series directly from the Capital Markets Trading Desk at SunWest Mortgage Company. So let's get right to it. The much anticipated Consumer Price Index for the month of April was released on Wednesday. The Labor Department's Bureau of Labor Statistics reported that inflation eased slightly last month. The Consumer Price Index increased 0.3% from March, lower than the expected 0.4%. CPI was up 3.4% from a year ago. Core CPI, which excludes food and energy costs, cooled off for the first time in 6 months. The index met expectations as it came in at 0.3% monthly and 3.6% annually. U.S. stocks and treasuries gained this week after the latest inflation data boosted speculation that the Federal Reserve may be able to start cutting interest rates in the near future. On Wall Street, the 3 major indexes reached new record highs while Treasury yields sank. Fed funds futures trading data now suggests a 75.3% likelihood that the U.S. Central Bank will ease rates at its September meeting. The latest CPI figures may offer some hope that inflation is resuming its downward trend, but Fed officials have pointed out that they will want to see more evidence that inflation is cooling before they start thinking about cutting interest rates. Fed Chair Powell indicated that the central bank may keep borrowing costs elevated for longer and that the central bank will need to be patient and let restrictive policy do its work. Meanwhile, after the CPI data was released, Minneapolis Fed President Kashkari doubled down on his comments from last week when he reiterated that the central bank likely needs to keep interest rates at the current level for an extended amount of time. New York Fed President Williams indicated that the latest U.S. inflation data shows ease in price pressures, but he still needs more evidence to adjust interest rates. U.S. small business optimism increased for the first time this year. April's NFIB Small Business Optimism Index rose 1.2 points to 89.7. March's 88.5 level was the lowest since 2012. Even though April's figures beat expectations, they remain below the 50-year average of 98. 22% of owners reported that inflation remains their #1 concern. U.S. producer prices rose in April by more than estimated. The Producer Price Index, a gauge of prices received at the wholesale level, gained 0.5%, higher than the 0.3% projected by economists. March readings were revised from an initial 0.2% gain to a decline of 0.1%. Core PPI also rose 0.5, beating the 0.2 forecast. The uptick was driven mostly by a rise in the cost of services, but several measures used by the Federal Reserve to calculate the personal consumption expenditures price index eased. Year-to-year wholesale inflation was up 2.2%, the highest level since April last year. Commerce Department data released on Wednesday showed that retail sales in April were unchanged from March's revised 0.6%. The report is another piece of evidence that the economy is slowing down, as elevated inflation might have U.S. consumers reaching their breaking point, and they may be starting to hold back on their spending. MBA mortgage applications were up by 0.5% for the week ending May 10th. Lower interest rates boosted refinances as the index was up 5% from the previous week and was up 7% when compared to the same week a year ago. Purchase applications fell 2% from the week before and were down 14% from the same week last year. Mortgage rates continue to inch lower for the second week in a row. Declining Treasury yields had the average 30-year fixed rate down to 7.08%. New U.S. home construction increased by 5.7% to a 1.36 million annualized rate in April, less than the 1.42 million rate forecasted. This follows a downwardly revised 16.8% drop in March to a 1.28 million rate, the slowest pace of housing starts since June 2020. The drop in permits for new activity suggests that the recent rise in mortgage rates and high prices have created affordability pressures. According to Labor Department data, initial claims for U.S. unemployment benefits decreased by 10,000 to 222,000 for the week ending May 11th. Continuing jobless claims increased by 13,000 to 1.79 million for the week ending May 4th. And whoo! That is all I have for you this week. If you like this video, please hit that like button and join me on Fridays here to stay updated with the world news. Our trading desk will have the latest information about our pricing incentives, so stay locked in and never miss out. Have a great weekend, everybody. Buffy, out.